day everyone, I am Jessa Mista together with my hardworking groupmates Aylashin Armas, Marjorie Meru, Jamaica Milanyo, Glenn Relano, and Jason Nabal. And we are the Group 2 from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Social Studies.
Here's the intended learning outcomes of Activity 5. At the end of this activity, the FS student must be able to achieve the following intended learning outcomes. Number 1, determine the alignment of the assessment tools and tasks with the intended learning outcome. Number 2, critique traditional and authentic assessment tools and tasks for learning in the context of established guidelines on test construction. Number 3, evaluate non-traditional assessment tools including scoring rubrics. Number 4, determine the procedure on how grades are computed and reported to parents. And last, number 5, compute student grade based on DepEd's grading policy.
Assessment for learning. Number 1, the teacher conducted formative assessment before the discussion began. Number 2, as the discussion delivered, we observed formative feedback. Number 3, the teacher asked questions on what's their prior knowledge about the topic. Number 4, the teacher administered a short quiz to test the level of knowledge and understanding about the topic. Assessment as learning. Number 1, throughout the discussion, the tool was used, which is the recitation. It assessing the students' learning on the discussion progress. Number 2, the teacher formulates questions about the topic. It is to determine how well the information was communicated. Number 3, the teacher group his student into two and they will have a debate regarding current issues in country, which is Philippine importation of sugar. Assessment of learning. Number 1, the teacher asks his students if they really comprehend and understand the topic. Of the above listed assessments are formative in nature. In the assessment for learning, the teacher did a pre-assessment prior to the formal lesson and the feedback during discussion because it captures the learning 10 process in order to detect misunderstanding, gasp, and changing understanding prior to the summative assessment.
List all the summative assessment that you have observed. The teacher was unable to provide the students a summative assessment. And all the assessment that are used are all formative in nature. The intended learning outcomes or the objectives. Number 1, naiisa-isa ang kahalagahan ng economics. It is non-traditional because the teacher asks his students on what the importance of economics and the students responded to the question. Number 2, nasusuri ang isang sitwasyon at nakapaglalahad ng desisyon gamit ang kaalaman sa mga konsepto, kahulugan ng economics sa pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay bilang mag-aaral, kasapi ng pamilya at ng lipunan. It is non-traditional because they are able to present knowledge about the concepts, definition, and understanding about the economics. Number 3, nakapagbibigay ng mga halimbawa ng sitwasyon na nagpapakita ng kahalagahan ng economics. It is also non-traditional because the students can able to provide real-life situation about the importance of economics.
The teacher calculates the students' score based on their output that is passed to the teacher. The criteria they consider in the AP subject is the written is 30%, the performance is 50%, and the quarterly assessment is 20%. The total of 100%. Grades are reported to the parents by PTA meeting on the card day, and the teacher will explain how did they come up to that grades, especially when a parent address a concern regarding a blank grade and a failing grades.
Let's go to analyze. 1. Why is there a need to evaluate learning? Because it enables teachers to assess how well their lessons were received. Learning evaluation is essential. It also enables teachers to guarantee that students learn what they should. 2. Do teachers need to record result of formative and summative assessment? Why or why not? Yes, because they can get grades there to compute when the student lacks some of the activities. Those assessments help teachers also note the progress of learners, and such records serve as feedback on how students learn and what their background knowledge is before the discussion. 3. In the assessment that was administered, do you think the teacher prepared a table specification? Elucidate your answer. We believe the answer is yes, since the table of specification enabled the teacher to design a test that concentrate on the important areas and weights those various areas according to their performance. It also gives the teacher proof that a test is valid in terms of content, covering everything that should be addressed.
How did the teacher align the tasks and assessment tools with the intended learning outcomes? The solid fit between the learning objectives, assessment, and teaching and learning activities is essential when creating learning objectives. By demonstrating the development, the knowledge and abilities during assessment, students demonstrate how they meet the outcomes. Students get opportunities to demonstrate the learning that being taught. Did the teacher use a scoring rubric to evaluate the students' performance? Yes, they use score rubrics for the students of a guide because you can't give a performance to the student if they don't have a guide. Did the learners encounter difficulty in answering the teacher's questions? Yes, the learners encounter difficulty in answering the teacher's question because some of the question that being asked by teacher require deeper think by the student.
Let's proceed to the reflection. As a millennial would-be teacher, how can the assessment process help you make learning more fun and more meaningful? As a millennial teacher, I must practice fair and unbiased assessment while grading students. To make learning more enjoyable and meaningful, I need to integrate assessment that will aid students in developing their cognitive, affective, and psychomotor skills. In addition, assessment tools must be relevant, appropriate, and applicable to the context and academic level of my students. As a future teacher, how can you eliminate fear of assessment to your students? I will eliminate fear of assessment by adhering to and comprising the standards of high-quality classroom assessment. My students won't feel pressured to complete their tasks. In addition, I'll make sure that the instruction and guidelines are clearly defined and explained before the assessment is given, so that my students can easily comprehend and complete it. And the last question is, if you are the teacher, what solutions could you offer to address the challenges in evaluating students' performance and giving feedbacks? If I am the teacher when evaluating students, I should always be fair and just. I should only calculate their grades that the students receiving based on how they perform in the class. No intervention and modification should be made to favor a specific student, as long as it offered properly. Feedback can motivate students to succeed and help them make improvements.
This is the sample computation of grades using the DepEd assessment guidelines.
Here's the intended learning outcomes of Activity 6. At the end of this activity, the FS student must be able to achieve the following intended learning outcomes. Number 1, identify the social rules and functions of a teacher to promote harmonious relationships with learners, parents, schools, and the wider community. Number 2, understand and appreciate the importance of school-community partnership in the educative process. And number 3, recognize the importance of teachers assuming responsibility for personal growth and professional development for lifelong learning.
Observation report. The personal and professional attributes of the teacher. He is enthusiastic and approachable person. He has a good leadership. He is passionate in his work and has a good communication skills and also a good listener. He is giving consideration to identify the situation of his students. And of course, he is a good role model. Extension activities. He is always active in their coastal cleaning together with his students. And also, they are always conducting a tree planting activity. Give at least 5 social rules and functions of a teacher. A teacher is a good role model, a leader, facilitator, supporter, and a researcher. The teacher is a role model because they become an example for the students and its community. They are also a leader because they enthusiastically offer to lead a community and the school. A facilitator because they help the students to learn so they can achieve their educational goals. And a supporter because they do their best to show support to the students.
The teacher was involved in extension projects such as the coastal cleanup, seminars, and tree planting together with the BKD, SSG, and TSO organizations. Those extension projects will probably affect the community well. It will keep the school and community clean and green.
Let's go to analyze. 1. Does school community engagement influence the educative process? Justify your answer. When families, school, and community organization work together to set goals and choose how to attain them, everyone benefits. Communities look forward to an educated and responsible workforce. Families and local residents support school in an informed manner. 2. How would you report achievement or result to the bigger community? Through the report card, as it will act as a guide for your parents and even the community to understand what is occurring in a student education. The grade will indicate whether or not they are making progress. The community can help with things like facilities, money, books, and other necessities. 3. How do personal and professional skills of a teacher help in preparing his or her tasks or functions? The teacher's personal and professional abilities will act as a foundation for his or her career as a teacher and as an investment. It is essential for a teacher to have accomplishments so that they may more fairly aid pupils in their teaching and learning process.
As a future teacher, how would you establish an school-community collaboration? As a future teacher, I am aware that creating a hands-on community in a school is one of the best methods to give students control over their learning environment. By scheduling time for community building, discover that discipline issues and students who have fallen behind are motivated to work hard to catch up. Do you have any advice about how to invite stakeholders to engage in school community projects and activities? As a future teacher, I create family-friendly legislation and regulation to promote involvement by variety of families. Teachers should get professional development on family and community stakeholders should receive training to aid in the development of good communication and teamwork. In the future, how will you enhance your personal and professional development? Explore, push the boundaries, and target high. Allow for yourself to fail. However, be sure to pack learning in your skill set. All of these are important to keep the mind for your career and personal growth.